What's going on, everybody? It's Mr. Cruz. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to use flat.io. Flat.io is a free music notation program or software. Now, what does a music notation program do? Well, it puts notes electronically onto paper. So instead of using a pencil or lead pencil and writing it by hand into some staff paper and worrying if you're drawing it correctly, if it looks neat and all that, you don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. You could put it online. Music notation software like this, like flat.io, music notation software is kind of like Microsoft Word or Google Docs for music. So first things first, you need to have the base tutorial PDF, and you need to go to flat.io and register and sign up. Any email address will do. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything. Now, if you're looking at my screen, you're noticing that it's a little bit different. I have the teacher's edition, okay, and then I'm still using the account from my last school, from my last place where I used to teach. So don't worry about that. Just go to flat.io and register and sign up. Assuming you've signed up already, and you're registered and you're ready to go, we need to look for this new score or tab. Okay, it can either be here in the middle or it could be here on the right side. If you don't have that, click on My Library, and after you click on My Library, you should see this new score tab here in the middle or on the right side. Okay, so let's click on that. All right, because this is an assignment, you're going to title this with your name. Okay, so I'm going to put my name, and you're going to put yours, and then you're going to find your instrument. So if you play cello or bass, okay, you're going to go here for strings, scroll down a little bit, and then click on cello or bass, whatever you play. So contrabass is for our bass players, and then there's cello. So let's do cello. And when you do the PDF, the cello and the bass notes are exactly the same. So we don't need to do this video separately. You put the notes in as you follow along into this tutorial. If you play the bass, click bass in here, but I'll just pick cello. We just need to do this on one instrument. If you like to compose and you want to experiment putting other instruments together, then yeah, you can click these in. Just hit these plus signs, okay? And it gets added, and then you can edit all four of these parts all at the same time on one sheet. Okay, so let me erase these. So now that I have cello here, let's hit create. And now flat.io is loaded, and we got to walk you guys through all this stuff here. So here's flat. Oh, this is the main editing window, main editing interface. Okay, so let's talk about the menus first. Okay, up here you have your menus. Now over here next to notes, right here, over here next to notes is supposed to be a tab called document. If you don't have document like I do, that's right here. If you don't have document, then your document tools are already up here in the upper right. Okay. The reason why you would have the word document next to the word notes is because maybe your computer monitor or your laptop monitor is a little bit too narrow and they can't fit all this stuff over here. So they put it inside a menu. If you want to access your document tools, you just got to click on document, which would be right next to notes, and these tools will show up. So in the document tool or document menu, you have your undo, copy, cut, and paste, saving your work, zooming in, zooming out, just like a word processor like Google Docs or Microsoft Word. Next menu or tool menu is notes. Okay, you're going to be spending most of your time on notes here. All right, this is where you add your sharps and flats, your natural signs, your accidentals, your note values. This is how you select your note value. If you want to put a dot after a note, make it a triplet. Okay, the next menu is articulation, like staccato, slurs, fermata, accents, if you want to note if it's something is pizzicato or arco. They have breath mark over here. Breath mark, that's a band thing, but this is a for your bow lift. All right. Next is ornaments. We're not going to be talking about ornaments in here. Dynamics, crescendo, diminuendo, and all your volume meters right here. Okay, forte, piano, etc. The measure tool is also very important. We're going to spend time in this section as well. Here's how you add measures into your score, add or remove measures. System break, we're going to be talking about that. That's how we're going to make sure that in each line there's only 2 measures here, or in the second line here 4 measures. Okay, so we need system break for that. This is the measure menu, or the measure tool menu, is where we can change clefs, key signatures, time signatures, add rehearsal letters or numbers, repeat signs. Oops. Okay, your repeats symbols, DSL coda, fine, coda signs, DC signs, first and second endings. All right, instructions to speed up and slow down. All right, and then next part is the text menu. We're not going to be talking about this, but then let's say you wrote a song and you have lyrics. This is where you go to type in the lyrics. You can put chords in for a guitar. Annotations, that's your text. That's additional text that you might want to write into the music. All right, so that's the flat.io menu and interface. Okay, the next most important thing about flat is this teardrop icon. Okay, you need to be very, very, very aware of where that teardrop icon is at all times, because wherever this teardrop is where the changes occur. So if you want to put a note somewhere, that teardrop has to be there. If you want to put an articulation or a bow marking or a volume change or a dynamic, that teardrop needs to be where you want it so that you can make the changes there. If you're not aware where the changes are and you start clicking around without knowing and being aware where this teardrop is, all right, you're actually going to be making a lot of mistakes. All right. Okay. Looking at the PDF that was provided to you, all right, you have here workflow. You have your workflow list. Okay, your workflow list is like your to-do list. Okay, but it's not just a to-do list. A workflow list is the order of how you're gonna complete a task. Okay, so it's your organizational system to complete your project. And the reason why we want to have everything laid out and everything in a list style is because we don't want to forget anything. If we just kind of do things as we see them on our music, we're going to forget stuff. All right. And then down here you have the music. We're going to put this music into flat.io. Okay, we're going to recreate this one note at a time into flat.io, and I'm going to teach you that. All right. So here we go. Let's get started. Workflow. Number 1, okay, we always, in the very beginning of a song, we gotta check the time signature and the key signature and all those vitals, okay? We don't want to be writing something in the wrong clef or in the wrong time signature, and then we have a huge mistake at the end. Huge big mess. So first things first, key signature and time signature. You're looking at flat.io, the new score that you just started, and you're noticing that your key signature is no sharps, no flats. It's supposed to be 2 sharps. If you see over here. So we got to put 2 sharps here in our key signature. Now there's 2 ways to add key signatures. You can click around here. Okay. Right where my mouse is, you can click around here. Oops. Nope. Get out of that. Come on. There we go. Just click right around there. And then a dialog box for key signature shows up. So we want the one with 2 sharps. And there you go. We just changed the key signature. Another way to change the key signature is by using the measure tool. So let's make sure that our teardrop is in this measure, and is. Go to measure. Go to key signature right here with the 4 sharps. Click on it, and then here are your key signatures. Okay, so I just click that into 2 flats. Do that again. I'm in my measure tools. Click key signature. Let's go back to 2 sharps. All right, all good. So that's the key signature. Time signature, you saw me sort of change it. You can hover your mouse over the time signature. Excuse me. You can hover your mouse over here, click on it, and then you can change the time signature. Okay. Pretty cool, right? The other way to do it is to go to the measure tools and then go to here to time signature. The same window shows up, okay? So that's key signatures and time signatures. All right, next is pitches and rhythm. And like I said, when we go to the notes tool here, we're going to be spending most of our time in this notes tool section. All right, so pitches and rhythm. So in our workflow, we're only going to put in the pitches and rhythm. We're not going to put in the bow directions or the slurs or the accents and stuff like that. We're not doing that yet. Okay, we're going to take it one thing at a time. So pitches and rhythm, here we go. I could see here that we have an eighth note or a D major scale, ascending and descending in eighth notes. Okay, so first note's a D. I'm going to do this. Go to my note tools, click on eighth note, and then click the note into the staff with my mouse or my trackpad on my laptop. Okay, so click the note in. All right, and there you go. There is D. All right, so all you got to do is to click the note into the staff. Make sure your teardrop tool is in the right spot. Okay. F sharp. The reason why that's already automatically F sharp is because of the key signature. It's 2 sharps. Okay, so F sharp's automatically sharp. F is automatically sharp because of the key signature. All right, so that is one way to input notes. The other way to input notes is go to your note tools, click on eighth note because we want eighth notes. And what you can do is press the letter D on your computer keyboard. And the note shows up. Okay. So I'm using the keyboard, my computer keyboard, to type the letters in. I prefer clicking the notes into the staff. That's just me. Because if I just do the computer keyboard, sometimes the note gets placed in the wrong octave, and then it's another series of steps to adjust that note. And if you're trying to work quickly, you don't want to add too many steps to what you're trying to accomplish. So I just prefer to click the note into the staff. Okay. So G. Next is A. C sharp. Okay. Then we have a D major scale descending. So click the notes in. All right, so that's the first line of the PDF completed here. That's all the notes that we need. Okay, so you're probably noticing right here that there's this extra measure 3, but then in the first line, we only have 2 measures. So we want measure 3, okay, to go to the second line. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, make sure that our teardrop cursor is in this measure. Okay, so I'll put it on the first symbol here. All right, teardrop is in the right spot. Click on measure tools and then go here, system break. All right, so what is a system? A system is one line of your music. Okay, so in the PDF provided, it's 4 systems of music that you have. Okay, in the first system, there's only 2 measures. In the second system, there are 4 measures. All right, so it's a system. Well, how come you don't just call them lines? Well, in music, there are way too many lines. You have measure lines, bar lines, ledger lines, staff lines. So we don't want to keep saying lines all the time, but I'm going to actually informally call these lines. Okay, 4 lines of music, or the third line. So anyways, back to system break. We want this measure 3 to be in the second system. So I'm going to make sure my teardrop is here. Go to measure tools and then click system break. And you'll see that measure 3 is now in the second line, just like the PDF I provided you. All right. Now, several things happen here in measure 3, and this is the importance of reading closely. We have a key signature change. So we no longer have 2 sharps. We only have 1 sharp starting in measure 3. Okay, so we need to change the key signature in measure 3, okay, to 1 sharp. So how do we do that? Our teardrop is in measure 3. Click on measure, click on key signature, and then change it to 1 sharp. And there you go. Now I see here in measure 3 that we have a G major scale, okay, ascending and descending, and they're all quarter notes. So from here, we go to note, click quarter note, and let's start putting in the notes for our G major scale. All right, there we go. And those are all the quarter notes for system number 2 in measure 3. Okay, as we can see, measure 7, in my situation, measure 7 has dropped down to the third system, which is good. We don't have to do a system break. So I also noticed that in measure 7, we went from 1 sharp to no sharps, no flats. So another key signature change here in measure 7. All right, so what we do is we go to measure tools, click on measure tools, make sure that our teardrop cursor is in the right spot, go to key signature, and go to no sharps, no flats. All right, and this is how it does it. It takes that sharp sign and makes it a natural, just to let you know that there are no sharps, no flats, all natural notes. Okay, so measure 7. Now we have a variety of rhythms. We have rests, quarter rests, eighth rests, and we have dotted notes. Okay, so measure 7, let's get started one note at a time. First note's a C, so I'm going to go to my note tools here, click on quarter note, and then click into C. The next note is a quarter, the next symbol here is a quarter rest. That's already there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my teardrop over to the next count. Okay, to beat 3, so I can insert a D here. All right, and then the cursor moved over automatically. That's already a quarter rest. Okay, so this may or may not happen to you, but I'm not getting any more measures here. So what do? We need to add more measures. Okay, so we have to make sure that our teardrop is here because we want to add measures after the teardrop. Go to measure tool and then click insert measure after. Okay, and there we go. We've just added extra measures into our music so we don't run out. Okay, so measure 7, that's done. Next, we got to go to measure 8. Okay, let me move my cursor over. All right, and the way I'm moving my cursor over is just using my left and right arrow keys on my computer keyboard to move the teardrop over. Okay, you can use the up and down arrow keys on your computer keyboard to adjust the to raise and lower pitches. Okay, all right, next, E, eighth note E. So I'm going to go to my note tools, eighth note. Okay, and then what you can do is, because this is already an eighth note, move over the teardrop to the next note, and then you have to click eighth note. Okay, every time you want to put a new note in. If you don't click eighth note, it's going to go by default the note value of this rest. All right, so we need to click eighth note here, so we could put an eighth note G. And notice that we're skipping, we're adding a rest in between each note, just like this. Okay, move the teardrop over, eighth note. All right, eighth rest, move the teardrop over, and we're into the next measure. Okay, next we need to put dotted quarter notes. All right, so we have a dotted quarter note B. So I'm going to go to my note tools, go to quarter note, click the B into the staff. To make this B, dotted quarter note B, to make this quarter note B a dotted quarter note, okay, I put my teardrop underneath the quarter note, and then I go to my dot tool and click dot. All right, you might have noticed that there's this thing called double dot. Don't do that. Okay, just go to single dot. Okay, move the cursor over for eighth notes, click eighth note, B again, and then we want to put a half note here, so my cursor is moved over, click half note, and then click in the C. All right, we want measure 10 to be in the fourth system. So my teardrop tool is already down here. Go to measure and click system break. And then that puts measure 10 in the fourth line. Another thing that happened here in measure 10 is we have a time signature change. Now we're in 3/4 time. So we got to change the time signature here. I got my cursor here already in measure 10. Go to measure tools, click on time signature, and then to change it, just click this 3/4 because we need it to be 3/4 time. All right. All right. And so again, we have a dotted quarter note C. Let's go to note tools, click quarter note, and there's a high C quarter note. We need to make that high C quarter note a dotted quarter note. So put the blue, put the teardrop underneath the C. Make sure you're under note tools. Go to dot, click dot, and now you have a dotted quarter note C. Okay, let's move our cursor over to the eighth rest, where we're going to put an eighth note B. So click eighth note, put in a B. Next, we need to put a quarter note here. So let's click quarter note, and then click A. Okay, now we have 3 quarter notes in a row, G, F, and E. That's easy to do. We're in the note tools, click quarter note, F, E. Second to last measure, we're almost done, guys. D, dotted quarter note. So click D into the staff. Make sure the blue, the teardrop is underneath the D. You're in your note tools, click dotted, click dot, and then click dot again. And now it's a dotted quarter note D. Over here, we need to put an eighth note C. Over here, we need to put a quarter note D. So I'm going to click quarter note first, and then click D into the staff. And the last measure is a dotted half note. Okay, so we need to put a dotted half note here. So we'll start with a half note first. Click half note, click the C into the staff. Move the teardrop cursor over underneath the C. Go to dot and click dot again. And there we go. We have finished all the pitches and the rhythms. This was the lengthiest part of the video. Okay, putting in all the notes. All right, now that we got that, let's teach you about repeats. Now, repeats aren't required in putting repeats are not required in the assignment, but let me just show you how to do repeats. Okay, let's repeat measure. Oops. Let's repeat measure 5 and 6. Okay, so I've got my teardrop in the beginning of measure 5. Click on measure, and click on this left repeat. And it puts the repeat sign right there in front of measure 5. Okay, we want to put a closing repeat over here. Okay, so I'm going to move the teardrop over here and then click on right repeat. It's under your measure tools. Click right repeat. There you go. Okay, so now measure 5 and 6 repeat. Again, the repeat sign is not required in this assignment. I'm just teaching you how to put the repeats. Okay, so since I don't need the repeat, okay, I'm removing the repeats, okay, by doing an undo. All right, so if you make a mistake, okay, you can do undo, all right, by going to your document tools, or maybe it's already up here automatically, and then click undo. You can also do undo on a Mac. It's Command Z or Apple Z. On a PC or Chromebook, it's Control Z. All right. So that's repeats. Next are your dynamic symbols. We have 2 dynamic symbols to insert. We have a piano here at the beginning of measure 8 and a forte at the beginning of measure 9. So I'm going to put my, set my cursor underneath the E over here. And now that my teardrop cursor is underneath this E, I am now ready to put in a dynamic in that spot. So click on dynamic and then click on the P for piano. And there you go. We need to put a forte here. So we need to take the teardrop and move it over. All right, I just clicked on the note without changing it and moved the teardrop over here. Go to your dynamic tools and then click forte to put in the forte symbol there. And that's all of the dynamic symbols in the PDF. All right, next we're going to make a crescendo and diminuendo. Okay, so we only have one crescendo here in the PDF, and that's between the piano and the forte. So I want my crescendo to be in this measure. Okay. I want my crescendo to start right here. So my teardrop shape is set in the correct place, and I'm going to hit crescendo over here. It's under the dynamic tools and hit this crescendo icon. And there you go. Now, when you put in a crescendo, okay, if you click on the crescendo, all right, you'll notice that these little circles show up. These are handles. You can click these handles and adjust the length of the crescendo. Okay, so you want only this much or all that. We want to get this crescendo as close to the piano as possible. So I'm going to actually make the crescendo go all the way up to the P symbol, let go, and it doesn't collide. All right, so you have this now. Diminuendos are the same way. Okay, so let's say you wanted to add a diminuendo. Let's add one right here. Okay, you set your cursor, your teardrop, and then click on diminuendo. And it throws one in. And then again, you can adjust the length of it by clicking the circles or these handles. All right, we don't need a decrescendo. It's not part of the assignment you're turning in. And I got rid of that by clicking undo. All right. The next part is articulation. Okay, articulations. If we go to the menu here in flat.io, your articulations are staccatos, tenuto, detached legato, accents, fermatas, slurs, bow directions, pizzicato, arco instructions, breath mark. That's actually your bow lift. Okay. All right. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start first with the articulations that are not bow direction markings. Okay. So we have an articulation right here in measure 6. These are staccatos. We need to put staccatos under these quarter notes. So I'm going to move my cursor underneath the C right here. And then I'm going to go to my articulation menu, tools, and then click on staccato. And you'll see that staccato gets added. I'm going to move the cursor over with my keyboard. Click staccato again. All right, so that's how you insert staccatos. The teardrop shape needs to be on the note you want to put a staccato. The next set of articulations we need to put in are accents, and they're right here in measure 9. Okay, so I'm going to move my teardrop over to measure 9. Okay, my teardrop is set for measure 9, and then I'm going to click on accent. Okay, move the teardrop shape over again, click on accent. And one more time. Okay, so now measure 9 is accented, all the notes. After that, we want to insert our bow direction markings. Okay, so that again is in the articulation menu over, where did it go? Right here. Up bows and down bows. Okay, so we need to put a down bow here in measure 1, first note. Move the teardrop cursor over, click down bow. The next bow direction marking is right here at the last 8th note of measure 1, and click up bow. All right, so wherever this teardrop cursor is where the bow direction is going to be inserted. Let's move over to the next note. Okay, for this D, it needs to be a down bow. D, down bow. Okay. Measure 3, the first quarter note is a down bow. The third quarter note is an up bow. The first quarter note of measure 4 is a down bow. And the first quarter note of measure 5 is an up bow. All right. And that, look over the part, that takes care of all of the bow directions. Okay. The second to the last part is slurs. Okay, so we have some slurring going on here in measure 3. Okay, so we need to slur these 2 quarter notes and then these 2 quarter notes. So let's move our teardrop shape to measure 3. Okay, under articulation, click on slur right here. Let me just double check. My teardrop is in the right spot. All right, click on slur, and there you go. Let's move our teardrop over to the 3rd quarter note of measure 3. Okay, and then click on slur. So now we have 2 sets of slur in measure 3. Let's put our quarter note, our teardrop shape over here. Okay, and we need to now slur all 4 of these quarter notes. Okay, so put our teardrop shape over here and then click slur. Now, by default, flat.io only slurs to the next note. You have to actually take the handles, the circles here, at the end of the slur marking and drag them over to the note that you want it to stop on. So we need to slur all 4 quarter notes here, D, E, F sharp, and G. And then that's what we did. Okay, again, if you click on the slur, it's got those handles. Okay. Now, a little quirk about flat.io is that it doesn't prioritize which way what should come first, the slur marking or the bow direction. So it's going to look different than mine. Okay, so my slur is underneath the bow direction marking, but the slur here in flat.io goes above the bow direction marking. Okay, and that's fine. You won't get penalized for that. Okay, now we need to slur these 4 quarter notes. The same thing's going to happen. The slur is going to go over the bow direction marking. Click slur, and then we need to extend the slur. Grab the handle, all right, and then extend the slur all the way over. All right, guys, so congratulations, you are done. If you followed every step of the way through, you are done making this PDF, okay? The next thing you need to learn how to do is to save or print your work. So how do we do that? Okay, under your document tools, if you have a document tab here, click it. Otherwise, your document tools are already automatically up here in the upper part of your browser. Click on your document tools, okay? And then you want to find the printer icon. Okay, so let's click on that and then click Start Printing. All right, so I have a Mac, so this is what happens when I click Print. You have some options. You could save that as a PDF, and that will go to your computer. So I click Save, and I can title it. All right, I can title it whatever I want. So that will get saved as a PDF, as a file to my computer. And you could take that file and drag it to an email or put it in Schoology as a link attachment or a file attachment, file upload. Okay, so you could save it as a PDF. I have the option here to go to Google Drive and save it as a Google Drive document. And then I have the option here to just send it straight to my printer and it will print. Okay. If you're looking at this, it says up here, score created with the free version. Yes, if you are using the free version, it's going to show this watermark up here. All right, but don't worry about that. It's not a big deal. All right, so we're not going to do that. And then the other way to save your work is to find this cloud icon with a down arrow. So click on that and then click on Printable PDF. All right, measure rests in measures. Oh, okay. So doesn't matter. You can have this on or off. It doesn't really matter. And then you're going to click export. You see all these symbols here. That's for the premium features. Okay. Don't worry about that. Just click on export. And over here, the file is being downloaded to my computer. So this is the same exact way as going to the print, start printing and saving as a PDF. Okay. So with that, now that you have a file saved into your computer, what you're going to do now is you're going to take that file and put it in Schoology or drag it into your email as a file attachment, and then or upload it to your submissions in Schoology. All right, so that's saving your work, and you are basically done. Okay, so all right, so flat.io. It's I love music notation software. I think this is what inspired me to continue playing music and to never stop learning it. I remember when I was in junior high or 7th grade, I had this old computer. It had Windows on it, and it had Windows 3.11 on it, a very old version of Windows, right? And I had music notation software on it, and it was connected to my keyboard. And I actually used my piano keyboard, my actual piano, electric piano, to put the notes into music notation software. So anyways, what I remember doing this, I'd come home from band class after school, all right? I would look at all my band music and I would plug it into the music notation software, and then you could play back. And so what I had was a personal, like almost a virtual assistant teaching me how to play some of the songs. So I would make sure the music was copied over exactly. Okay, and then I would click play, and then the computer would play the sounds back for me. All right, so music notation has improved so much in how many years? Over 20 years. It's improved a whole lot, and it's great. And even to this day, sometimes I'll look at something really complicated, and I'll look at some really complicated music. It's like, I really need to hear it. I'll put it into music notation software, and I'll play it back for me. Okay. The other thing is you can practice along with it. So let's pretend this was a piece of sheet music that you have to practice for orchestra. All right. And this is way too fast. You can slow it down. You don't have to wait for class to start. And then be like, can we slow it down? Can we practice it slower? You know, you have this, okay? So we could set the tempo to anything that you want, all right? Or let's say you're practicing it and you want to practice it fast and you want to get faster and better at what you're able to play. Okay, you could set the tempo as something faster, all right? So let's try that. Let's go here to metronome, turn the metronome on, and then click play. All right, but first let me move the teardrop over here to the beginning because that's where we want our song to start. Okay, so let me move the microphone over. And then we're going to click play. Okay, and so that was just played right now. So let me turn off the metronome. And then yeah, so now you have something to practice along with, and I can't tell you how many times this really helped me out when I was younger, when I was in band. And I would practice along with this, and you know, I would make sure I was reading the music correctly. All right, so this is music notation software, flat.io. It's free. You're welcome to purchase the premium subscription. It's actually not a bad price, considering that, you know, if a private teacher, if you know you're paying $25 a half hour for a private lesson, or $30 a half hour for a private lesson, private music lessons, and that teacher only comes once a week. Well, now for the cost of a private lesson for an entire year, you have this to kind of fall back on and to learn rhythms. Okay, so save your work, save it as your name, send it to me through Schoology as an assignment, a submission. All right, and I'll grade it, make sure it's exact, and you know, you're welcome to take any piece that you like from all your other orchestra songs, throw it into flat.io and be like, hey, so that's how that's supposed to sound, and work it all out. Okay, so that's flat.io. Good luck and happy